Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome back to a brand new edition where today I'm here to talk about a very different style documentary because as of this year I've reviewed quite a few documentaries here on my channel and certainly I've seen more documentaries than ever. So on October 29th, a documentary came out here in the UK called Quant that is based on Dame Barbara Mary Quant or Dame Mary Quant. This was directed by Sadie Frost, a director that I wasn't really familiar with, and when I looked up on IMDb about her credits, she's only directed a short before, but she's done a lot of hand in producing and also acting, so she's definitely brought that experience and gave this into her first feature directorial debut, which is awesome that Sadie Frost got a chance to direct about a very visionary and entrepreneurial woman, Dame Mary Quant. So this documentary came out on October 29th and I actually got a chance to check it out late last night because I didn't actually realise that it was out in general. I didn't even know anything about it. I didn't go into this watching a single trailer. So I actually found out that it is showing, as of this review, it's actually showing on Tuesday the 9th here in the UK at select cinemas, and I'm not sure if it's been on at any other ones or if it is going to show at many others, but I do believe it is going to be getting like a DVD release possibly early next year. The Plot of Quant. Well, it's about Dame Mary Quant and her life and this look into this visionary's life and how she came up with the idea of the miniskirt, which by all means I don't have a clue about women's fashion. If you're looking at me at this review right now, I usually wear a geek t-shirt and like some pair of joggers or like jean shorts. That is kind of my fashion and I just, like feeling where I'm comfortable. So I can't really comment on women's fashion per se. However, I am very intrigued about a documentary and about learning about these really famous figureheads in the world of fashion or movies or, an actor's profile, whoever it is, because it's really interesting and also invigorating learning about a different timepiece. Because being honest with you, one of the best aspects of this documentary in general is around Dame Mary Quant's life and how when she came up with this idea of the miniskirt and how this documentary, a style that Sadie Frost presents in the 60s era, which is awesome by the way, because I don't know a lot about the 60s, but it's definitely well represented in this documentary throughout. And I love the fact that the subtlety of the music and soundtrack in this is great. It's very accompanying to what you're seeing on the screen. But I also really appreciate it. In this timepiece of the 60s, there wasn't a lot of same-sex equality or even equality in general represented. And I love that Dame Mary Quant went out and she purposely put black women in to showcase her fashion collections, and that is just massively respectful that she was given a different ethnicity a chance to be represented, which wasn't really known for that timepiece. And throughout, I think Sadie Frost does a pretty good job overall in her first feature directorial debut. Now, I can't imagine it was easy to start with and how to put this together, because we also get some really, interesting figures that supply interviews or supply kind of like commentary throughout this documentary and its runtime. The likes of Kate Moss, Davies, and also Vivienne Westwood. So yeah, it's really cool to see these big names in the fashion industry showcase and spare their time to talk about Dame Mary Quant and just tell us a little bit maybe about her or how they influenced them. I definitely felt like at times this documentary paid respects to her in a great way, and I definitely think that Sadie Frost did a great hand in doing so. Another big highlight that I have to give is to a woman called Camilla Rutherford, who portrays Mary Quant throughout this documentary. Now, I was wondering, okay, well, where have I heard Camilla Rutherford from in the past? Well, she actually starred in a movie called Phantom Thread a couple of years ago with Daniel Day-Lewis in his final feature film role, but she was also in a couple of other films that I've actually seen, like Yesterday, for example, which portrays around the Beatles, and I love that the Beatles was also referenced in this movie because it's kind of like a little Easter egg, I guess, so to say. Yeah, she is fantastic in this, and the performances I've seen throughout in her filmography and in the past, it's been great. Definitely an underrated actress, and I think Mary Quant would be proud with how she portrayed her in this documentary. So in terms of any kind of negatives that I would have for Quant in general, well, one thing is, I guess, the marketing. I didn't really know about this documentary at all, so I feel like as if a lot of people who may want to see a documentary like this, there isn't really much marketing around it, so it may go under the radar, which is a little bit of a shame, because don't get me wrong, when I mentioned before about Kate Moss and Vivienne Westwood, etc., given commentary throughout this documentary, at times it's great. It did feel a little bit wooden, don't get me wrong. It definitely had some information where I learned a lot about, because I generally didn't know a lot about the subject matter in general. But I feel like for anyone who's maybe, say, like an art student or into the world of fashion or into, you know, equality or anything like that, so per se, they may already know a lot of this information. So they may come here and not learn a lot brand new. You may not learn a lot from this feature. Although I did praise Sadie Frost's direction, and I certainly am sticking to that, I felt as if times it slowed down a little bit when we were getting like this really vibrant and really cool vibe of the 60s and learn a lot about that. We then get some kind of like still images, or we get like some images that are just like flicked over like as quick as a click of your fingers. And it was a little bit of a shame, because I would have liked to have soaked in that atmosphere a little bit more of that timepiece or what was being presented in front of me. Overall, my rating for Quant is... So yeah, if you've seen this documentary yourself, please let me know what you thought of this as well, because it'd be really cool to hear if a lot of people have seen this documentary, because I actually want more people to see this, because it was very interesting. Although I couldn't relate 100% with the women's fashion. Of course, I'm probably never going to be able to unless I went into that, which I don't really have any plans to. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you already haven't. And until the next time that I see you, I'll be seeing you later.